First, thank you. Thank you, those of you who have been my friend and Hillary's friend. Thank you. Thank you, those who have decided not only to participate in this caucus, but to work in it. This is, to put it mildly, an interesting political year. The problem I have with the way it is too often covered is we cover the interesting things, the insults, the smears. And everybody forgets that when all the dust clears, someone will be elected and people either will or will not be better off. Something I almost never see written about or on the evening news. In my family, Hillary and I raised our daughter, who has devoted herself to our foundation and public health, to keep score if you're in public office or you're just in a foundation in public service, with three simple questions. Are people better off when you quit than when you started? Your children have a brighter future. And are we coming together instead of being torn apart? If you can say yes to those three things, good. All the rest is background music. All the grief is worth going through. All the mud is worth dodging. If you want to be able to say yes at the end of the next president's term, you will elect Hillary president because she is the best. Even though I don't always like the interest. How many of you saw the president's last State of the Union speech? Okay, here's basically what he said. He said, I know we're not all the way back yet, but our economy is moving. We've had 14 million jobs in 5 years. Our economy is doing better than any other big economy on earth. And which is true. We're in a better position for the future than anybody else because look at us, we're more diverse and we're younger than all the other big economies except for China. And we would have been younger than them if they hadn't abandoned that one-child policy. Since I'm about to have my second grandchild, I hope we don't adopt that in America. The university systems, the research labs, the entrepreneurial spirit, the small business people. You know, it is really true. We are well positioned for the future. If I were tonight 25 years old, and I knew at 25 what I know today about the world and America and the economy, and the genie came out of the lamp and said, here's your gift. You can live anywhere you want for the next 25 years, but you have to decide right now. I would pick the United States of America. That's the good news, but that's not what's dominating this election. What's dominating this election is the rest of the story, which is we've recovered an enormous number of jobs ahead of the historic average for financial crashes. But 86% of the people haven't gotten a raise since the day of the crash. And half the people are still living on the same or less money than they were making when I was president 15 years ago, and that's too long to wait. It is true that almost all the gains have gone to the top 5% since the crash. It is true that for 40 years, we've seen a departure from what used to be the rule, which is that when a company got more productive because of its workers and made more money because of its workers, it shared the profits with the workers along with the shareholders and the management. There are still a few companies, both union and non-union, that do that. And believe it or not, they're doing better than the national average. Because they treat their workers right, because they take care of the communities, because they worry about the families. But it's not the norm, and we all know it. second problem is related to the economic problem, is that a lot of younger people are longing for a sense, not so much of guaranteed security, but a guaranteed opportunity. Kids are in college afraid they won't be able to stay because they think they won't be able to repay their debts. Young millennials that have graduated from college are still being choked by the debt they're trying to repay. Afraid they'll never be able to go and get a loan to start a business or even own their own home. One of the young men who's traveling with me tonight said that none of his friends owned a home, and most of them just assumed they never would. So you got this good news and bad news story. So the real issue in this election is who can maximize the positive things that are in this country and in our future and minimize the problems so they no longer dog the American people. And who can keep us safe without giving up our Constitution and character as a country. There is only one person running who can do both those things, and you know who it is. I'll just pick up on what my eloquent introducer said. In order to get where we need to go, Hillary believes we need to have inclusive economics where we all share in the prosperity. And we have to ask those who have made all the money in the last decade to pay a little more to help us get there. Not because we resent their success, but because that's where the money is. And we need to invest more in modernizing our infrastructure and building a clean energy future. Nevada should never import any energy again, ever, from anybody. We can put thousands of people to work just to bring solar and wind. By the way, that's a speech I've been giving in Las Vegas for more than 10 years. It was true when I said it, it's truer now, and it's cheaper to do now. We need inclusive social policies. I'm tired of looking at young African American men shot in the street when they're unarmed, or choked, or selling 3 illegal cigarettes, or that mentally ill man in Los Angeles that the sheriff's department, he waved a gun around, he never shot anybody, and they shot him, put him on the ground, and fired 30-some more bullets. I'm tired of that. I think the cameras are right. And we need to believe in the police again, and they need to believe in the community again. We saw how important good policing was to us when those people put their lives on the line in San Bernardino. And every American, without regard to race, was proud of them and grateful for them. It's very interesting. When I ran for president in '92, the big policing issue were the riots in L.A. and Rodney King. Those of you a certain age will remember that. At the time, people said, oh, L.A.'s got the most racist police department in the country. They all retire and go up in the mountain somewhere and join these survivalist groups, and it wasn't a pretty picture. So what did they do? They organized community councils where the neighborhoods and the police that worked those neighborhoods and their superiors, if necessary, met every time there was a dispute involving violence. While Ferguson was having riots, and Baltimore was having riots, and we had that terrible controversy in New York, and all this stuff was going on, there was a little article in the newspaper one day that a young person was shot by a police officer in Los Angeles, not by the sheriff's office. That's what you saw in the camera. And there was never another article. I don't know what happened. Believe it or not, that's good. Because what it means is the community took care of it. Everybody knows if you carry guns around, every now and then something will happen that shouldn't. Everybody knows that. But nobody wants to have systematic violence that is unaccountable for people that have no right anymore just to their own person and their own safety. We got to deal with that. We got to deal with the fact that now you've got all these young immigrants who are known as dreamers who wonder if they're going to get to live their dreams in America or not. Or somebody's going to send them home or make them feel unwelcome while they're here. We got to deal with the fact that our fellow Americans who are Muslims are facing new stigmatism, new threats. And I just want to tell you one story because it's really important. After that awful thing in San Bernardino, a couple days later, I was in New York. Hillary was out campaigning, and I got up, picked up the newspapers, drinking my breakfast coffee, and I looked, and there was this little article in the New York Daily News, and a little picture. It looked like a piece of wood with a bullet in it. So I read the article. At a convenience store in New York City, in a modest income neighborhood, two guys had come in the day before to rob it with pistols. One guy stood and stared at the door with his gun. The other guy went up to the man behind the counter and said, "Open that cash register and give me the money." The guy behind the counter was a Muslim immigrant from Yemen who'd been here since 2002. Every month sending home money home to his wife and 4 children, every month trying to get them to join him in America. So he's supporting this family, right? And he's terrified. So he opens the cash register, takes the money out, and he's about to hand it to the guy, and he just blurts out, "You know, I've only had this job for a year. It's not my money, and it's sure not yours." And he reaches out and slaps at the gun hand of the guy. The gun goes off, misses him by a few seconds. And thank goodness these guys might have been criminals, but they were not dumb. They realized they had just fired a gun in the middle of the day in downtown New York. So they ran off. This man went next door, called the police, and went back and put the money up and waited for him to come. He made his report. The guy that owns the store comes and he is so overwhelmed by the guy's courage and what he did that he gives him the afternoon off. Now, what did he do? He went home to this little apartment he's been living in so he could send all his money home to his family. And he got out his prayer rug and he got down on his knees and he thanked his Maker for sparing his life and prayed that maybe now his wife and his children, now 15, 17, 19, and 21, would finally be able to join him and they could be together again. He is far more representative of most Muslims in America than those people in San Bernardino. Without their help. This war is going on over the social media and the brains of a billion people. We got to do it together. We need inclusive social policy. And to get there, we need inclusive politics. And Senator Ford talked about this, but this Supreme Court is responsible for a number of bad decisions. They make pretty good decisions until they get into politics. Then they're sort of results-oriented. For all their talk about strict reading of the Constitution. So they did this Citizens United case, which basically says a billionaire and someone living on public assistance have the same right to express their free speech with as much of their money as they want. A curious interpretation of the First Amendment, leading to all these secret accounts and all this stuff. We got to do something about that. But worse than that was the voting rights decision. Just a few years after every Republican in the Senate who voted for extension of the Voting Rights Act, and most in the House did, they said, "Oh, we don't need that pre-approval provision anymore because look at all the African Americans that have been elected to office. We're getting rid of them." They knew exactly what they were doing. They opened the floodgates to all these attempts to make it harder for people to vote. Now, in a funny way, we all bear some responsibility for that. As I saw when I was out here working in 2014. What do I mean by that? We Democrats, we show up, we got a presidential election. And now culturally, after the Republicans had an advantage from like 1980 through 2000, then we had a couple elections, but it was pretty even, the base vote we had. Then it shifted for us. More of us than them. Except more of us forget to vote in the midterm elections. We forget that the governors, the state legislatures, the people that draw the congressional districts, the members of the House of Representatives, the third of the Senate, they're not elected when we vote for president. So we keep trying to expand the franchise. Hillary has a wonderful bill, as was described, to make it easier to register to vote, to automatically enroll